Okay. It's 5 a.m. I had a visitor. When I was going to sleep in the wee hours of July the 1st, see, when I went to bed, it was right at 3. I just woke up at 5. But I woke up because of what occurred. When I was going to sleep, I noticed something didn't feel right. And I did my usual ritual that I do when I'm meditating before I go to sleep. Protection bubble. I noticed something seemed off, not quite right. And, I talked about that cleanup we need to do. Yeah, well, this is part of the cleanup. In my sleep, as I finally drifted off, in my sleep, I was walking in a town. Downtown area, small town, small city, looking for somebody. That part I'll have to sit here and think about. I'm not sure who I was looking for. But all of a sudden, a guy rides by on this beast. It was, I don't know how to describe the animal. It's, cross between, trying to think of, a good way to describe it. It reminded me of a black bulldog. But he was riding it. It was big. It was super wrinkly like a bull mastiff, but the body shape was a bulldog. The short little rear legs, the real thick, stocky across the front. You know how the hind end is a little bit shorter on the rear flanks than it is in the front. Let me unplug this from the wall. Alright. Because I was kind of leaning over because of the way I had that sitting. Okay. I don't know if you can see the window. I don't know if the camera is facing towards the bedroom window right now. Alright. Anyway, still dark. Won't be for long. Anyway, the animal was basically a dark black, kind of had some brownish in it too. It had horns. Or did it? Or was the thing riding it had horns? You have to give me a minute. Yeah, the thing riding it had horns. Not the animal. Anyway, this thing went riding past me and swooped up and landed on a building. And when it went riding past me, it kind of brushed into me, you know, really close enough that it scraped the side of me, basically. And then when it swooped up and landed up on top of this building that was to my right and in front of me, and there was a parking lot behind some businesses on a basically like a town square sort of layout. And he landed up on this one building that was off to my right. And my sense is I was walking westbound, and where he swooped up was kind of northwest of me onto this, 3-story, maybe, yeah, about 3-story building. Well, it was a 2-story building with a third area that kind of steepled up. And he landed on that and immediately turned as soon as he was landing towards facing me. And he swooped down at me again. And this time, I don't know if I had a stick. I had something. And as he went by me, I basically tripped his mount, that dog-like creature. I tripped it. Because I was ready. I was preparing for a battle. Not kidding. Like, yeah. And then I arrive at my destination of where I was planning on going in the first place. It reminded me, I was walking up to it was like a theater. Um, Steps were on the corner of the building, on the street corner. Um, there was parking on either side. And I was coming up through the parking lot to this place. And all of a sudden, this guy walks up to me as I'm approaching the building. No horns. It's the same guy that was on that mount. And it's cold outside where I'm at. I can tell you that. And he walks up to me, and I'll never forget what this guy or his mount looks like. Reminded me of Gene Simmons. Not joking. Then he said, "Oh, I want to give you something. Hold out your hand. I want to give you something." And he made out like he was doing some sort of magic trick in front of the people that were outside gathered at this building, had all kind of heading in like I was. And I opened my hand, and he placed the weird swooping motion. It was weird. The weird swooping motion he made with his arm, like it was some sort of grand, like he was performing magic in front of all these people. That sort of grandiose gesturing. And he swoops his arm down and deposits these crystals in my hand. And they're cold. They look frosted, and they're amethyst colored, but frosted, kind of like they're super cold. And they had a bizarre odor to them. And I immediately threw them on the ground. Immediately, instinct told me, get them out of your hand. And he's like, hurts, doesn't it? Kind of like my poor beast hurts after you wounded him. And then, of course, this all happened in seconds, not joking. And that's when I realized, because my radar was already up. I was already pretty sure this guy in front of me was the same thing that was on that mount. Just wasn't presenting with his true appearance, but my radar was up and I sensed him. And I already knew it was him, merely trying to cover who he was in front of everybody else. I'm glad I threw those purple rocks on the ground. But I just woke up. And I laid here for a couple of seconds, kind of gathering myself. Because I'm like, the minute I woke up, I was still in high alert. Radar was up. Like, I'm ready for battle, not joking. Like, I want to rip something from limb to limb, and I'm not kidding. I sat up in bed. I went to the bathroom. The entire time thinking about this, what just happened. And after I went to the bathroom, I went in the living room. And I've got a nightlight in my kitchen dining area. And I know I saw something go flitting by it. And I've had that happen before, but it's an LED nightlight. I saw something go flitting by it. I saw something go flitting by the patio door. And using telepathy, I basically told it that I would shred it if it didn't step aside and back off. And I'm just sitting here wondering if it's going to show back up again. And also with my telepathy, I have been asking for Gabriel, and Ed and I asking him, what the hell was that? um, that is just so bizarre. And I'm sitting here just waiting. Because I'm basically sending out the message telepathically that I might be in human form right now, but I don't have any reservations of being what I am when I'm not in my body. So, there's the cleanup. We got a lot of cleanup to do. And it's stuff like that. You know, you hear people in live streams making comments or underneath other people's videos. Aliens or demons? Yes and no. What I just dealt with, that was an alien, and yeah, it was a demon. But are all aliens demons? No. Nope, 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 and nope. That's their fear talking when they say that, because they fear the unknown. Anyway, I'm sitting here waiting to see if that thing is stupid enough to come back here. It just goes to show, you know, we are creators and we create our reality. But I can tell you this much. What I'm dealing with is not anything of my creation. What I'm dealing with is exactly what this war has been about for the eons and eons. Thing is, we won back in May. And like I discussed before, there was a decided victory and there would be cleanup. And backlash for participating in that particular war that had been going on. But this is the cleanup stage. Excuse me. And as I stated before, it's more painful than being in the war itself sometimes. Because there's lots of what I just dealt with still hanging about. So, I laugh because they're stupid enough to even approach me when we defeated their overlords, so to speak. So, it's like, they definitely have some balls. I'll give them that. And they got past, this one got past my field. That tells you for sure that it wasn't. Because I have a sense that everything around me is freaking out. Not me, But all the souls on all the dimensional planes that are stacked on top of each other, they're all freaking out right now. Because they weren't expecting that either, I have a feeling. Oh. I mean, I've had some creatures visit my room, and as you can tell, I mean, I'm wide awake. It's like I wasn't even asleep. I want to point that out. Like I said, when I woke straight up like I was already awake. No, and usually when I wake up, it takes me a very long time to shake the dimensional pulls. I guess is a good way to put it, because pulling me out of the astral which is where I'm at when I'm sleeping usually, makes for very difficult, long, slow wake-up periods. It takes me forever to become what I call functional in 3D. Forever and ever. But not this time, because this is different. I'd been asleep right about 2 hours. When I woke back up, the sky is just starting to light up outside. I'm looking outside, and I'm seeing hints of light in the sky, so the sun's coming. It's 5:36 according to my bedroom clock. Anyway, yeah, I've had negative beings visit me before. This is not the first time. This one was definitely more rooted in the 3D, matrix. Definitely. Maybe traveling between the second, third, and fourth. I don't know. Definitely had a lot more form to it, this thing that I dealt with. Weird. It looked like Gene Simmons. Why I keep saying Jim? Gene Simmons. Weird, right? That is weird. Nothing surprises me, though. The ones I had in here before, and I've had them twice on 2 different occasions, probably a few years apart. The last one was in the same exact bedroom about a year ago. Was that about a year ago? Might have been a year and a half. Something like that. And this thing was more rooted on a different dimensional plane and not so much in the 3D. It had trouble holding its form, is a good way to put it. All black, nothing but black. Basically a type of shapeshifter kind of thing. It kind of looks like a giant bat, but it's a being. I'll have to try to find some stuff on the internet to help describe what this looked like. That thing, the shapeshifter thing. that had trouble holding its form in this 3D. Those are pretty easy to get rid of. Because those are scared of us. Like, really scared of us. They know what we are. And they get scared when they realize we know what we are. Because they're not used to people knowing what they are. Not what they really are. Anyway, yeah. So those go away pretty quick as soon as they realize what you are and that you know what you are. But this thing I dealt with tonight, that was a whole nother ball game. And it's using black arts. Definitely using black arts. And for a moment, another thing, for a moment, when I heard the animal whining in pain from what I had done to it when it made its second pass to try to knock me down or whatever it was trying to do, I don't think I killed the creature, but I lamed it. I can tell you that. It couldn't use its legs after I got done. It was howling in pain, and I sort of felt sorry for it for an instant until every fiber in my being told me that that animal had the exact same agenda that its rider did. So, no, I don't feel sorry for it now. That was a fleeting moment. So, if you guys ever run into something like that, don't feel bad for wounding their mount. Don't feel bad for doing that. Because, trust me, that animal was conjured up using the exact same crappy crap that the writer was using. That dark arts, dark magic BS. And always remember, our power is far superior to theirs. By far. And most likely, that one that, I don't know, they have a lot of, it's almost like they have so much balls that it outweighs their brain. So chances are that one might be back. He's next. It won't be his mount. And I told him that basically telepathy-wise when I went in the living room and I realized something was still around. He'll be next. And I won't just wound him. And same thing with his mount. Anyway, I wanted to get this down immediately because I'm horrible about getting experiences on video and getting them uploaded to you guys. So yeah, the cleanup. But yeah, make sure you remember that. The mounts cut off your, good way to put it, your humanity and your love for animals. You're going to have to shut that off when something like this occurs. Because they're real. They could hurt you if you don't realize who you are and what you really are. Anyway, I wounded his mount. So if he's ballsy enough and stupid enough to return, trying to get vengeance for wounding the mount, oddly, I think the mounts are, my feeling is the mounts are connected to them, like it's part of them. Sound familiar to anybody else listening to this? I have a feeling others may have experienced something similar. But yeah, this guy had horns. But he made sure to cover those up in front of the other people entering that theater. Now I gotta try to remember where I was headed and why I was going there. I was meeting somebody, I know that. Huh. Weird. Wonder, not even holding the camera the right way. I don't know if you guys will be able to see the light in the sky behind my curtains starting to light up outside. Anyway, well, now you heard it. It's July 1st, 2018. It is now 5:45 a.m. And that's the cleanup. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. I'll try to make sure and do this more often so that you all are aware of what you might be facing. But remember one thing, no fear. You outpower them by a long shot.